Welcome back to Kleppers Corner. Today in the news, the only show where we take the chaos of global politics, financial panic, and technological hubris and try to squeeze it into the shape of a joke that makes you chuckle before crying into your 401k. It's August 28th, 2025, and folks, the world is basically in season finale of Game of Thrones mode. Fire raining from the sky, alliances nobody wanted suddenly locking arms, and a U.S. president firing public health officials the way you delete spam emails. The global report card right now? See me after class. Today we're talking about Russia bombarding Kyiv, Trump turning the CDC into a TikTok wellness brand, Xi Jinping hosting Putin and Kim Jong-un for a boys' trip, Trump slapping India with tariffs so high they should come with oxygen masks, Gaza and Iran reaching new boiling points, Nvidia freaking out Wall Street despite making more money than God, and the AI giants OpenAI and Anthropic suddenly deciding they're best friends. Spoiler, they're not. Buckle in, we're going to need stronger coffee. Segment 1, War in Europe, Russia's deadly escalation in Kyiv. So let's start in Ukraine, because when things go bad in the world, they apparently go blockbuster Michael Bay sequel bad. Last night, Russia launched a massive missile and drone assault on Kyiv. And when I say massive, I mean your uncle at Thanksgiving trying to explain NFTs massive. We're talking 598 drones, 31 missiles, and apparently zero respect for diplomatic buildings. The EU's mission in Ukraine got hit. The British Council got its windows blown out. You know the war has jumped the shark when Putin is targeting the cultural exchange program. Imagine Putin waking up like, first crush their tanks, then their piano recitals. And of course, this came right after Trump and Putin met in Alaska for peace talks, because nothing says de-escalation like a Russian missile flattening the EU's office 50 meters away from where people hand out Erasmus brochures. It's basically Putin saying, thanks for the chat, Donnie. Now watch this sick fireworks show. Zelensky, bless his heart, immediately clapped back online. He tweeted that Russia chooses ballistics instead of the negotiating table, which is a polite Ukrainian way of saying they RSVP'd no to the peace party and sent a cruise missile instead. Here's where it gets spicy. Zelensky deliberately called out China, telling Beijing it's time to pick a side. That's like being at Thanksgiving dinner, watching your cousins fight, and yelling at grandma, pick which grandkid you love most now. Beijing is suddenly sweating like, do we back Putin, our favorite bad boy, or do we pretend to care about sovereignty like we said in all those PowerPoint slides? This isn't just war anymore. It's geopolitics with the subtlety of a WWE steel cage match. And the message is clear. Russia is vetoing peace talks by turning Kyiv into a Michael Bay audition reel. Segment 2. The White House in motion. Turmoil at the CDC. Back home, the chaos is contagious. Literally, because Trump just fired the brand new CDC director, Susan Menarez, only weeks after she was confirmed. Why? Because she refused to endorse unscientific directives. Translation, she said no when Trump suggested Lysol shots with a Diet Coke chaser. And the fallout? A mass resignation at the CDC. The place looks less like the nation's premier health agency and more like the last 15 minutes of a reality show. Senior officials are running for the exits like it's the final boarding call at LaGuardia. Now here's the kicker. Trump's health secretary is RFK Jr. Yes, the same guy who thinks Wi-Fi causes brain fog and that vaccines are a deep state sorcery spell. Having RFK Jr. in charge of the CDC is like putting Alex Jones in charge of NASA.
Today we launch a rocket powered by male vitality supplements.
Meanwhile, National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard is out here stripping CIA officers of their security clearances, even one who is undercover. Nothing screams intelligence like blowing your own spy's cover. At this rate, James Bond wouldn't last a week. He'd be outed in a press release titled 007 Not Aligned with the President's Agenda. Folks, what we're seeing is the deconstruction of the administrative state, which is a fancy way of saying Trump wants yes men, and science is inconvenient. Forget follow the science. In 2025, it's follow the science fiction. Segment 3, an axis of convenience, China, Russia, and North Korea. Now let's talk about Beijing, because nothing says peaceful commemoration like hosting a parade where your guests of honor are Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin. Yes, for the first time ever, Xi, Putin, and Kim will all stand on the same balcony together, which means somewhere in the world, the axis of evil just got a group photo for their LinkedIn page. This is the autocratic equivalent of the Avengers assembling, except instead of saving the world, they're trying to dunk on it. They're basically saying, you've got NATO? Cute. We've got nukes, vodka, and whatever's in North Korea's lunchbox. And G, always the subtle one, framed the parade around the victory of the world anti-fascist war. That's right, he's invoking World War II to justify palling around with Putin, the guy literally bombing European cities. That's like inviting the Hamburglar to your anti-theft summit. The message is obvious. The anti-Western bloc isn't just theory anymore, it's happening. China, Russia, and North Korea are linking arms, and everyone else is just trying to figure out if we're living through history or the weirdest reboot of the Three Stooges ever made. Segment 4. The new front line is trade. U.S. tariffs rattle India. Let's move to the global economy, where Trump just put a 50% tariff on India. That's not a typo. 50%. That's not a tariff, that's a mafia shakedown with paperwork. The logic here is Trump wants India to stop buying Russian oil. So he's basically saying, you want cheap gas? Fine. Pay me double for your leather handbags and cashews. It's the geopolitical equivalent of telling your roommate, if you keep dating my ex, I'm peeing in your shampoo. India naturally isn't thrilled. Modi got on stage and basically said, America can take its tariffs and shove them up their cow. Except in the politest way possible, surrounded by cheering farmers and dairy sellers. He called it a politics of economic selfishness, which is diplomatic code for screw you, buddy. And here's the kicker. The U.S. spent the last decade trying to woo India as the counterbalance to China. It's like courting someone for years with flowers and love poems, then slapping them with a prenup that says, by the way, half your jewelry is mine. Don't be shocked if India starts hanging out more with BRICS or the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Because if you're Modi and you've got Putin offering you cheap oil and Xi offering you a parade invite, you start wondering why you're still paying a cover charge at Club America. The irony? By weaponizing trade, the U.S. may just be encouraging India and others to build alternative systems that don't rely on the dollar. It's like telling your teenager they can't borrow the car. Sure, they'll pout at first, then they'll buy a scooter, get a bus pass, and suddenly you're the one begging for a ride. Segment 5, Middle East powder keg, Gaza and Iran. Now to the Middle East, where the situation has gone from crisis to doomsday Jenga tower. In Gaza, Israel has intensified its bombardments. The death toll has soared past 62,000, mostly women and children. A famine has officially been declared in Gaza City, and a CNN investigation revealed something chilling. The hospital strike last week wasn't just a double tap, but a triple tap. For those unfamiliar, a triple tap isn't a new TikTok dance. It's when you hit a hospital, wait for first responders to show up, and then hit it again, and then hit it again. That's not a military tactic. That's sadism with a side of PR disaster. Meanwhile, Iran is edging closer to nuclear trouble. The UK, France, and Germany are triggering the snapback clause of the 2015 deal, which reimposes sanctions. Why now? Because if they wait until October, Russia takes over the UN Security Council presidency, and guess who's not going to sanction their drinking buddy in Tehran? Yep, Putin. The man vetoes peace talks like he vetoes salad at dinner. So Europe's basically speed-running diplomacy before the Russians get the gavel. Imagine being at a Monopoly game where one player is about to become banker and you're rushing to buy Boardwalk before they start printing fake money. The big takeaway, Gaza is starving, hospitals are being bombed 3 times in a row, and Iran might be weeks away from shrugging off the last shred of international restraint. The Middle East isn't just a tinderbox. It's a tinderbox inside a fireworks factory with Elon Musk live tweeting from the roof. Segment 6. Wall Street's AI reality check. NVIDIA's warning. Back to Wall Street, where NVIDIA just delivered earnings so good they scared investors. Yes, you heard that right. They beat expectations, made record profits, forecasted even more growth, and the stock tanked. It's the financial version of acing your exam, only for your parents to ground you for not getting extra credit. Why? Because their data center revenue, which grew 56%, fell short of expectations by, wait for it, $200 million on a $41.1 billion. That's like being furious that your pizza only came with 39 pepperoni instead of 40. And then there's China. NVIDIA admitted they basically can't sell their AI chips there anymore because of U.S. export controls. They even had to write off $4.5 billion worth of products. That's not just a bad day, that's burn the leftovers in the fridge bad. Investors immediately panicked, pulling the whole NASDAQ down with them. And here's the twist. The Dow Good old boring companies like Caterpillar and JP Morgan stayed steady, which means the market might finally be saying AI hype is cool, but maybe I'll park my money in a company that builds tractors instead of talking robots. It's the classic Wall Street hangover. We've been drunk on AI for months, and now the bills come due. Nvidia is still minting money, but even gods of silicon can't outrun geopolitics forever. Turns out, when your growth depends on selling microchips to a country America's trying to sanction into the Stone Age, Wall Street starts sweating harder than Jerome Powell in a sauna labeled core inflation. Segment 7, the AI frontier. OpenAI and Anthropic hold hands. And finally, some tech irony to close us out. OpenAI and Anthropic, two companies locked in a multi-trillion-dollar death race to own the future of AI, just announced they collaborated on a joint safety study. Yes, the Coke and Pepsi of AI got together and said, maybe we should make sure our products don't accidentally convince teenagers to yeet themselves into traffic. They compared notes on their models, Claude and GPT, and found that Anthropic's bots are overly cautious, always refusing to answer, while OpenAI's bots are basically overeager improv actors making stuff up with confidence. Put them together and you get the worst dinner party guest ever. One who won't answer your question and one who lies to your face. So why are they doing this? Because lawsuits are piling up, governments are circling, and they'd rather regulate themselves than let Congress do it. It's like when teenagers promise their parents they'll be responsible while they're literally hiding beer under the couch. Meanwhile, Nvidia's CEO is out here predicting a $4 trillion AI market, and Google just dropped $9 billion on cloud centers, which means while these companies are patting themselves on the back for self-regulating, they're also sprinting full speed into the AI arms race. Safety is the PR message, profit is the reality, and humanity, well, we're the guinea pigs. Segment 8. Conclusion. Welcome to the age of geopolitics. So what's the lesson from today's madness? That everything is now geopolitics. Missiles, tariffs, vaccines, microchips, even your chatbot telling you to drink bleach. The lines between war, trade, science, and markets are gone. We're all living in one big global high school cafeteria where the cool kids are building nukes, the nerds are building AI, and America just picked a food fight with India over Russian oil. The blocks are hardening, the institutions are crumbling, and even Wall Street is realizing that hype has a shelf life. It's not just politics as usual, it's politics everywhere all at once. So buckle up, because if August 28th, 2025 taught us anything, it's that the season finale of geopolitics is going to be one hell of a cliffhanger. And that's today's Kleppers Corner. See you tomorrow, assuming Putin doesn't launch another 598 drone peace overture.